Messiah and Mahdi. So, Qasid Sahib, obviously the first place that we'll look to is the Holy Quran as Muslims. So, where are these signs in the Holy Quran, and where are they, and how were they fulfilled?
Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Now, it's very essential that we do understand, actually, in actual fact, that what were the signs of the promised Messiah ﷺ in the Quran, because this is a very fundamental question which our non-Ahmadi brethren and sisters always ask us. Now, first and foremost, I've got a few verses from the Holy Quran. There are loads and loads of verses which can be brought forth, but the time will not permit me. But I've selected a few verses. The first and foremost verse I have chosen is from Surah Sajda, verse 6, in which Allah the Almighty says, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Yudabbirul amra minas samai ilal ardi. يدبر الأمر من السماء إلى الأرض ثم يعرج إليه في يوم كان مقداره ألف سنة مما تعدون. I'll read the translation. He will plan the divine ordinance from the heaven unto the earth, then shall it go up to him in a day, the duration of which is 1,000 years according to what you reckon. Now, in this verse, Allah the Almighty has said to mankind that He will plan the divine ordinance. What is the divine ordinance? That's the question. The divine ordinance is, in fact, Islam. It's very clear to understand the divine ordinance which Allah the Almighty at that time when He was sending the Quran down was Islam. The name of that religion, that belief was Islam. So, once He's sent down Islam, it shall go up to him in a day. One day, it shall go up to him, it shall rise up to him. This is what Allah the Almighty is saying in the Holy Quran. It shall rise up to him one day. And it will stay up there for a day according to what God says, and then God says according to what you believe as 1,000 years. So 1,000 years, that belief will be up in the sky. First, and the first thing that comes into mind, I'm sure some of you will be thinking, is that hadith of Hazrat sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in which he says that لو كان الإيمان معلقا بالثريا لناله رجل من هؤلاء, that when the faith rises up to the Pleiades, which is a star in up in space, one man from Islam shall bring that faith back down, because that faith has risen up. He was referring to this verse of the Holy Quran, because in this verse it says that faith will have risen up. Now, when will those 1,000 years appear? That's the question. Now, in another hadith of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, we find that the Holy Prophet ﷺ says, I'll say the Arabic and then translate it, خَيْرُ الْقُرُونِ قَرْنِي, the best of centuries is my century. ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ, then the ones who meet them, the ones after that century, and the one after that. Hence, basically it will be 3 centuries. Those will be 300 years. So 1,300 years after the Holy Prophet ﷺ, this will come. Why? Because 300 years have gone. The Holy Prophet ﷺ said this will be the prime of Islam. What will happen after that? It's very obvious. It's rhetorical. You don't have to say what's going to happen after that. The Holy Prophet ﷺ has said it himself. There will be 3 centuries in which Islam will be in its prime. Then after that it will face a downfall, which will be these 1,000 years which are said in the Holy Quran. 1,300 years after, what do we see? We see Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian alayhi salatu wasalam claiming that he is the Mahdi prophesied by Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wasallam. It's a very clear verse of the Holy Quran. I don't think there needs to be any more explanation. Now, other few verses which I have selected are from Surah Takwir, in which many prophecies have been made in such small verses. Now, at apparent, they're very small verses, but they have such huge meaning within themselves. I'll present a few before you. The first verse of this surah is, in fact, إِذَا الشَّمْسُ كُوِّرَتْ, that when the sun is wrapped up. Now, what comes to mind when we hear of this? When the sun connotes the faith instilled in the hearts of men, instilled into the hearts of believers, because the sun is a bright thing. Brightness connotes faith, connotes a positive thing. So when faith is completely evaporated from the face of the earth, this the sign of Qiyamah will come, because regarding this surah, a hadith is of the Holy Prophet ﷺ that if you wish to observe the signs of Qiyamah, what will Qiyamah be in the Holy Quran? Hazur said, look at one of the surahs, which he said was, look at Surah Takwir. So in this verse he says that when the sun is completely wrapped up, Another meaning of this can be the eclipse, which was prophesied by the Holy Prophet ﷺ. There are many verses. I think because the time is quite short, I'll just select a few more. وَإِذَا الصُّحُفُ نُشِرَتْ, when books are spread abroad. Now just put yourself in that time of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, when the Quran was written on leaves. There were no books. It was so hard to imagine for even those companions, I'm sure, that when books will be spread abroad, sitting right now, it's very easy to understand that, you know, what's the amazing thing in this. But at that time, the Holy Prophet ﷺ was saying that something big will happen when the books are spread abroad. Another sign is وَإِذَا الْوُحُوشُ حُشِرَتْ, that when the beasts are gathered together. It's very simple to understand. Zoos, how at that time beasts were, you know, they were walking, lurking the earth just like man was. But the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that beasts will be gathered together. They are gathered in the homes of people like dogs, cats. But we see that in zoos, lions, bears, giraffes, all sorts of animals are combined together into one cage or one fixed location. Now in another place of the Holy Quran, in Surah An-Naml, I'd just like to mention one more verse. The Quran relates to the plague which was to appear in the sign of the promised Messiah ﷺ. Now, how can that be possible? I'll read the verse. The Holy Quran says, وَإِذَا وَقَعَ الْقَوْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ أَخْرَجْنَا لَهُمْ دَابَّةً مِنَ الْأَرْضِ, that when the sentence is passed against them, in Arabic, the وَقَعَ الْقَوْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ means that when the task of spreading the message has been fulfilled to them, when the message has been conveyed to them, we shall bring forth from the earth, we shall bring forth for them an insect. Now, you'll be asking me, how does a plague come from insect? Well, the promised Messiah ﷺ has mentioned a very interesting fact in Nuzul al-Masih, a book of the promised Messiah. He said that the plague, in actual fact, it has recently been discovered by, at that time the promised Messiah ﷺ said, that at that time it has been recently discovered that the plague starts off from a very small insect. And that insect, in fact, looks, it is like two nuqta, or two dots, what we call in English. And the two dots, he said, those two dots are the microscopic figure. I can't draw it for you, but that's what it shows. That's what the insect looked like. Now, the promised Messiah ﷺ mentioned it in a very small sentence, but it's such an interesting fact. He said that two circles bore witness for me in the sky, and two dots bore witness for me in the ground as well. The two circles in the sky were the sun and the moon, the eclipse, and the two dots were this insect. There are many prophecies in the Quran which I would have liked to mention, but I think the time wouldn't permit me.